Oh my goodness. So we were just talking about asking questions and how that reverberates because sometimes they can be posed with curiosity and sometimes they can be more of either posing like a challenge to the person
Mm.
that like you're asking the question to, or it could be something that like sever or it stops the conversation or like um ends the trail of curiosity. So like what I was hearing Penny is just like, or the reason that I posed the question that I did is because I'm also trying to understand what might be out there from people who might not identify as neurodivergent, but they have like their own intricacies that they're not available to, like they're not recognizing within themselves. So, like, because one of the things that I hear a lot from people is that people who are quote unquote like neurotypical are like NPCs, that they're like non-player characters in a video game, that they're just there to populate the world and they don't really do much. But like what I think could be part of their experience is that like they still haven't like reconciled or integrated the parts of themselves that are easy to deny based on societal conditioning. And if they don't have different ways of like, their experience piercing the veil, being like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is this happening to me? Like that's kind of like what I feel happens to a lot of people who discover their neurodivergencies, especially earlier in life, that they're like, there's too much evidence pointing to this not being normal, that like I have to do something about this. Whereas like they might just be, you know, walking blindly through that territory, not realizing what's happening. But I don't know. I just because I don't study brains for a living, so like I wouldn't be able to tell you that there's a standard brain model type A. It's like the Ford, whatever comes in one color. I don't know.
I don't know, but I do live with a very neurotypical partner. And sometimes I feel like we're living in two different universes. But yet it's it's been 26 years and we find a way to make I, I say we find a way to connect, but I feel like I always find like the reaching point to connect to him.
Mhm.
But I must say that it's pretty hard because it feels like I'm living in my own universe that he doesn't see
Mm.
and that he doesn't inquiries. It's like he doesn't question about these things, and I have always been someone who questions a lot.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I was asked I would ask about anything, and at some point at the beginning of my career, I saw things in like the business I was working in, and I asked questions like, why do you work that way? Why is this structure up and running? Because I I would people were frustrated and irritated by my question. And later on, I understood that I was seeing things that was not working, incoherences that they were not seeing. So when I was asking questions, it was bringing them the incoherence, so they couldn't answer what I answered to me because they were like just in front of this cognitive dissonance of like, oh, but not for them, it was not necessarily the time to take a look at these things because they might not have been ready for it. So I I took a huge step backwards, and it's okay because I went on the full-time mom thing, but I was like, okay, so that the thing that ignites me in life to ask question, it it can trigger or bring people like not on their best side.
Mm.
So it was the experience personally had with questions, and it's the same way with my husband, but now I just I read it better now that I explored this field of questioning, because that for me the question is about a pure curiosity, like I want to know how it works, but it can also mean that I want to understand how it works because I see it from one angle, like it's like I see a structure, but I see something not coherent interacting with the structure, like a behavior that doesn't resonate with like a core belief or a core, not belief, but a core value. And I can ask a question and it brings the same dissonance. And it's like I just realized now that I say it, I feel like I might have um what's the word? Like um I don't know the word, but when you uh just you don't speak.
Yeah.
You get yourself to not speak about things and just to shut up because what you say triggers what you when you speak it triggers, and it's very coming from somewhere that is maybe it was coming from somewhere that was very loving, but maybe not mature enough to just understand that this world it's not like that. So, but when I speak to a neurodivergent person, we and I don't have that many in my life, I feel like I'm free. My brain is free just to speak about what comes to mind always.
Yeah.
It's so much of a big subject, these questions thing, because when when I was in school, sometimes when I had an exam, I didn't understand the question, but it was very basic. So it was very basic, but for me, the question, and I understood that when I was homeschooling my kids and I was reading the questions on their exam, and the question might have been very, very easy to understand for a neurotypical person, but for a neurodivergent or someone that it's like the question, and I don't know how to word it, how to phrase it, but I'll do my best. But it's like the phrase and the words that are used, they're not the best.
Yeah. It
So,
would either
it,
lack context or nuance.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, it's like that's how it was so hard in school because it was the content, it was very easy for me to understand. But the exams, it's like so uncomfortable just to understand what in the question, okay, what the teacher wants me,
Yeah,
what is
exactly.
asked? What is asked?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. I studied psychology in university, and it's the same thing with, ADHD, for example. If you want to diagnose here in Quebec, at least, the forms that you have to fill, it's the same things with these questions. It's like, haven't aren't you the professional that have to get to the right questions? Like it's science 101, like find the right question, try to demonstrate with like some sort of experience to
Yeah.
answer this question. So and so when I got to my doctor for an ADHD like diagnostic or whatever, she gave me some forms to fill, and I was like, no way that I'm gonna get diagnosed with these criteria. Like, is it some kind of random thing? It was so. It made me like want just to redo the whole system or just get out of it. So just fuck up. And I'll get just used to work with this brain and this nervous system. It's a big topic.
Yeah. Goodness.
I can really, really, really relate with the questions and being able to see maybe or understand that there's a nuance of something inside of whatever that is that's not um, resonating. And I really appreciate the way that you articulated that because I too I've kind of, I guess sometimes I've kind of been like misunderstood. I've felt misunderstood a lot in a lot of different situations inside of the questioning. Like
Hmm.
that was felt so innocent for me to ask the question to understand the thing. And, but when you talk about plasma and consciousness and what's in the field, that articulation of being able to see something out of like even if you don't articulate what that is, it's in the field and the other person's picking up on the subtle energetics of it. Because I've had people be offended and feel like I was actually questioning their character or questioning the content. And I've even stood back and go, oh, wait, like I'm just trying to understand.
Hmm.
That's all. I'm just trying to understand because I'm not processing and but like my ability to read body language is also kind of tricky then too because I'm observing all of this and I can see someone else's like and feel in the energetics other people's judgment of
Hmm.
oh me not understanding because like you said for them it's like it's so straightforward and simple for them
Hmm.
for other you know what I mean for some brains I should say and like for me I'm like can you say it another way so that I can understand it and like I'm translating it in my head to something but then I'm not always sure if that's what the meaning is because sometimes it's very nuanced in communication. um
And you're getting other signals as well
yes,
that are not acknowledged in what the
yes.
person is answering.
Well, and there's also like the field of like whatever the other person is able to recognize in themselves too. Like
Hmm.
maybe they are running some insecurity about what this thing is, you know? And so like the question then feels like, but how would I know that? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, didn't mean to like, I didn't mean to do that. I
Like
think
the
wait,
question in itself is invasive, kind of.
say
Mm.
that again.
It's like the question in itself is
Right.
kind of invasive
Right.
for maybe the an unconscious or repressed piece of the person that has to just come up to face the question itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know sometimes I have shown up, then my tone starts to shift
Hmm.
because I'm my own frustration with
Hmm.
not understanding. And then, like, I'm still asking for the, and then I'm picking up all this, what's happening. Um, and so then I kind of sometimes have this internal flooding of emotions. Um, it's probably cortisol, anxiety, like just it's like I'm flustered with um and then I know that that can come out in my tone, which then affects how it's perceived, which isn't always about the other person. It's sometimes it's like, hey, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm like melting down on the inside right now. I need to like come back, take a break, and then we can resume this.
Hmm.
Yeah, which is a little nuanced too in certain environments like work or professional environments. Like it's hard when you feel like that. For me, anyway, I've felt that like internal. I don't always have the capacity to express what I'm experiencing in that particular moment. It might even be like days
Hmm.
later, I'm like, oh, I was so over flooded with like I couldn't even articulate. Not that I didn't recognize what was happening in my body or wasn't present with it. I just like there's like a block between being able to articulate what it is and like integrating the experience to be,
Yeah.
which is really different from neurotypical people too, I've noticed, because they're able to sometimes talk about what's happening sooner and don't necessarily need the extra processing time or integration time. Um, and so sometimes in communication, it's like, especially if there's like misunderstanding, it's hard then because there's space and it's like, oh, it feels like
Hmm.
they're void and like I'm bringing something up from the past almost, with
Hmm.
some, like, yeah, I'm done with that already. Like I'm past that. I don't really want to revisit it. And I'm like, oh, there wasn't like any closure or repair or like I feel like I don't know what to do with all of this.
Hmm. I feel like you you or we might deal with so much more information. So it's the load of just classifying what's relevant for you, for the other person, for the exchange. I mean, it's no surprise for me that it takes more time just to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's so obvious now that we speak about it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when you're in it, you feel so it's like I in certain situation, I don't know for you, but for me it's like with some, for example, my husband, sometimes I feel so not intelligent for not understanding the the basic level that he's trying to communicate. So I have to ask all, and he's very not, he's very like not, he's not giving any detail with
Yeah.
this, his information. He's very basic with
Mm.
the information that he gives. So no context, no explanation. So it's like he gives an information, and I feel like I have to dig around everywhere around this information to understand where what he means to just communicate. And when I did all that, it feels like I'm the stupid person because it was very simple what he was trying to communicate. And some someone like him would have understood what's, for example, when he speaks with his father, sometimes I cannot understand what they say to each other. It's so basic, but they they understand perfectly each other. It's like it's so frustrating to feel like okay, I feel like I might have some kind of capacity that I can use, but in some other situations, I feel like why these capacities are not useful in these kind of contexts where the information is very raw and not contextualized. And I don't remember the link that I wanted to do with what you were saying. I just lost it. But um, hold on. Yeah, about closure. Yes, it was about closure. So it just seems like it's not useful for the other person to come around and close because for them it's closed already. They just it's done, it's done. And sometimes I envy this capacity of like being so ba on a basic level because it's like it's how the world works basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like having I these are words that I choose, but I don't mean for them to be like so bold, but is when you have a complex mind, it's hard to do simple things or just to come to get it comes back for what I was saying. Like you have so informations, like you have to classify to put it in folders, like to get to the main information. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, I feel tired just speaking.
Oh my goodness. Uh, what it immediately made me think of was like a vortex, or like you know how people say that there's when there's a storm coming, like the eye of the storm is where like nothing is really happening. And
Hmm.
just like sometimes what it feels like is that being on the periphery, like being further outside the eye, you're getting all the different pieces of information. It's in all directions. There's like context that's important. It's like, you know, the eddies, the little currents of air and stuff like that. And then like what happens with people who aren't, you know, surrounded by that type of information, like they think it's like blue skies, like nothing's happening. It's
Oh
like,
my
oh
God,
yeah.
I love your image. See?
Oh my goodness. So it's just like one answer, or one question, one answer. Like there's nothing, there's no context. You don't need to know any of the other stuff. It's like
Yeah. And it's true. It's just an information. He's asking a question. Why can I answer without asking 20 questions before? It's like, it's so simple. Yeah. So, and I I love your example because it's exactly how it feels.
yeah. And what it was bringing up for me too is like the whole idea of high vibration, like the way that a lot of people talk about it, it feels like they're referring to it in the this case of like not having context, or it not being dependent on the things that came before or after. It's like being in the present moment is like an exclusive thing. Like you discard the past, or were you, Penny, were you the one that was just talking about like throwing things away, like discarding it? And so it's just like the idea of the octave, like integrating all of the levels of like the different frequencies, like it being a literal harmonic. It's pulling all of these things together and allowing it to be coherent. Like that's kind of what, even when it comes to closure, it's like that's what it feels like. It's like, oh, all of this suddenly like clicks into place. Like there are reasons for even the nuances that were happening that were like confusing at the time, because it was like, I don't know how this point of information is referring to all the other points. Interesting. Yeah, it's big. That's a lot. This is,
At at one at in, I I'm wondering because I'm not there yet. I'm wondering how to use this mind and this world. And I feel like that it might it might change in the upcoming couple years, but I don't know if this change will be enough for me to function because I look forward to just get back to society. But and reach out to people that could benefit of my questions and my ability to see things and to just ask these questions exactly for the purpose that they are looking for something and they can't find the right questions to ask.
yeah. I mean, I see that as available to you right now. This is like, I don't know, this is, it feels like what, I know that we're saying like a few years out, but there's like this sense that I have that the periphery, like kind of if we were gonna think of the hurricane idea that I was bringing,
Mm-hmm.
like that's the first. like when you start to see things happening, like they happen before they happen. It's like the butterfly flapping its wings. It's like that's when you start to notice like, oh, like this is different. Like people are talking about neurodivergence. Like you're watching videos first and then slowly it's like coming in like we're talking on Zoom and then like eventually you're having conversations with your neighbors and then it's like there are like different levels to it, but like you can notice as it starts to build up the momentum in your life in some way. Um, like for example, this year, as I've been, even when I started the chakra series, like I started to notice the people that I kind of assumed were neurodivergent or not, they were neurotypical in my family, like the most neurotypical people, they were coming to me and like suddenly sharing pieces of like stuff that they were really having like massive tension around or like issues around. And I was just like sitting there like, I wish I could just tell you to join this community. But I feel like there were parts of me that were like not necessarily anticipating judgment, but just in the sense of like I know that where they're currently at with like victim mindset and feeling like there's nothing that they could possibly do to change it, like that they would have to get to a certain point before they would be available to
Hmm.
me offering a solution.
Hmm.
um so it's just like I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's like the um being open to or like having the availability to the questions, the right questions of being like, where is it that I can start showing up or offering my unique brain right in this moment? It's like maybe you're already doing it.
Maybe just starting by not shutting up the question that come up would be a right place to start. And when you were speaking, it made me think about the what's the first sphere in the Venus sequence? Is it attraction?
Hmm.
The attraction sphere?
Yeah,
And for me, it's compromise. It's the shadow of compromise, and it brings to competence. So it makes sense that when I compromise and I don't speak, I don't ask questions, it's like I cannot reach out to this gift that I might use or have, which is competence. So makes sense.
And trusting and really listening deeply to your own intuitive guidance about timing. I know there's something in there for me with that, that I'm still learning very much. Because sometimes the questions that I have, it's not the right timing. So, like, kind of like, I just was hearing that in compromise. Like, sometimes the compromise can be a choice of like, the timing's not right. So, I'm just going to hold this for now and just allow some space to see if maybe the timing might open up and feel more aligned to say something or to ask the questions. Um,
that's really cool too because what that's reminding me of is how sometimes when we're noticing that the time isn't like perfect for whatever we're seeing as like almost like a vision of the future, like sometimes we can almost like allow ourselves to weave backward where it's like, oh, if this is what the end result is like appearing to me in my mind as like this thing occurring, like how can I kind of like plant a little seed that like can grow so that it aligns later on.
Yeah. It requires that kind of faith and patience, though, that might have it's something that I might have to cultivate.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it's very it's a very good way to start things and to start change and to sow new ideas. Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you think you've already seen yourself demonstrate like this faith and patience?
Hmm.
Because I'm sure that this isn't like the first time that you'd have to integrate those pieces, but
I don't know. I don't think I
maybe with
ever
your kids.
explored this possibility, of course, but I could look back at some things that I did in this way, but it was not conscious. It was like uh maybe an instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole way that I brought them up,
Yeah.
basically. 'Cause you cannot shoot them everything that you want to teach them like on day one. Yeah. But I'm gonna stick with this idea, like getting to a future. It's like my future, my mind for projecting future has been for myself, for my own path. It's like it's frozen. It's been frozen for almost a year now. It's like I don't see further anything. And the idea of seeing something like kind of in the future, something's coming, like you see a pattern and you know this pattern is got to end there. And to weave back, it just brings something alive for me that I, if I were to see something, I would have some kind of power now over what I'm seeing in the future for my own experience.
Huh.
So I'm gonna write that.
Mhm. Just to bring up an example, because this was something that was really difficult for me when I was leaving my job as a coach. I really thought that I was like not going to be able to like fully disengage from that environment, especially because like part of the story I was telling myself was like, oh, like I hated swimming when I was swimming, so why the fuck am I back here? Oh my goodness. I was like, there's something that's forcing me to be here. Like that's the reason. So it was like really difficult for me to reconcile this piece of like, no, you have free will. Like you can opt out. Like this is like something that you can like renegotiate the terms of whatever contract this is. So I was like, I was getting a little bit magical with it, and I was doing like these rituals with myself every time I would leave the pool deck. Like I would go into my car and I would take like anti-parasitic, which is like hilarious to think about now because I was like, this is kind of like a parasitic, and the way that I was framing it to myself was like a parasitic relationship, but it was one that I was creating internally
Hmm.
with the sport, with the environment and everything. So I would do that, and then I would get home and I would like affirm like certain things, like make affirmations to myself, like yes, I'm committing to this. Like I will continue to like put my needs first as like putting boundaries with my boss about not taking on certain tasks or like putting in my notice. Like it took me a while to actually like let him know like, hey, I'm gonna be done by the end of this summer. Like, do not expect to see me like after that. And then it just like built up over time. And then I was like starting to create the circumstances to actually perceive the way that the universe could be like feeding back into that loop because like other people were starting to quit at the same time, and like
Hmm.
I started to notice that my boss was getting like uh like this feeling of instability and wanting someone to like take on the responsibilities that now he was going to have to get for himself. And it was so much easier at that point to be like, no, 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 I've already committed to, like, this is how it's just gonna, we're not doing this anymore.
You
After,
already committed to not commit anymore.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
right.
Lori, can you express again what you said when you said the thing that you wrote down? I wanted to hear how you express that again, if you
Yeah, I wrote just a few words because
yeah,
I just I literally told myself I would have to revisit
yeah,
to understand better. So you're putting me on the spot
yeah,
for
No,
doing
this is
that.
the seed.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's like it's very interesting because for it's like I got used to just have an image and to project myself in the future. And now it's like the opposite. It's like weaving back. So it's like you're already envisioning the end result. And I feel like just standing in this position and breathing in it, like the end result in itself, it's like you're traveling kind of in
yeah,
this space and time, and weaving back is like for me, and I really saw like the knitting, the crocheting, and the loops that you have that brings you to the end of it. And so the word weave back, it just brought another dimension because it tears down the linearity of like from now to then.
I've got full body chills. Yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah,
So when you come back, it's like there's no linearity. It's like the whole, it's like imagine like a tissue that has been woven, and when it's finished, you can go any direction. It's like you have all the directions to weave back. I feel it's like any string that you pull will bring you.
yeah,
And so when you're at the start, you have all these possibilities that can exist, but when you it's like you have already like I don't know the word, but it's like when you have all the answers from the exam, it's like they're already there, they already materialize, it's already materialized. I feel it's more um it feels like more materialized and you can access it from the other way around instead of creating it. I don't know if that makes sense
yeah.
at all, but
Thank you
that's
for revisiting because I wasn't quite understanding. So thank you
mm-hmm.
to reiterate that,
Yeah.
back and with that, because that made perfect sense in here. And it reminded me of that's why I was like getting I was like, oh, man. And I literally was watching this spider yesterday. I sat in this chair. I have this like little gardeny area that's right out the porch here. It's just part of my yard. It's just like a little area. Anyway, there's lots of activity out there though. Squirrels, bunnies, mice, bumblebees. I was telling Tiffany, like we have these huge bumblebees, like dozens and dozens and dozens of them. They love the Korean mint. And
Mm-hmm.
anyway, there was a spider weaving a web between these two mullein stalks. And I sat here yesterday for like 50 minutes, literally doing nothing but watching the spider weave this web. And it was fascinating. It was exactly what you were saying. And the thing that was coming in was like the spider is working with the field, but the spiders working with the backwards and the forwards are actually happening at the same time. So when I was watching it, it was going, and then it would poof, it would like stick a leg out and pull and then walk and then stop there, and then all of a sudden it'd be. But the wild thing watching it is that there was the illusion, and maybe this is true because I actually don't know, that the like in my mind I was like, the silk or the thread, right, is coming out of kind of the back end. So it's walking and making the thread. So how is it knowing the next place to go? What is it holding on to get to the forward? Because I can't see it visually. I'm like, I have no idea how is the spider even knowing to get from here to here when there's no thread already there to walk on. And so the spider is actually, and then I can see the thread, like with the light the right way. So it was like something was coming in about like the spider being able to weave with the like the backward and forward, the present and not present at the same time.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? And then
Of course, it
it,
was not linear. It's
yeah,
like it's the same thing.
it was going from the inside to the outside, but then it would cross over and then it would go like, it was very interesting how, and I'm sure it was looping. Like I've made a dream catcher. If you've ever made one from scratch, like it's a lot of knots and then contain and then loop and knot and then, but then you cross over this way and you loop back up and you knot and you twirl. So you're kind of weaving in this, it's like, it's like the up and down and the back and the forth and the front and the back, they're all like a part of the same thing. Like it's all happening at the same time. And like my brain just sometimes wants to label it that way. But if I just get still, like I did with that spider and watching it, it was just like, I felt like a little kid watching, like, I don't know, like when I went and saw a glass blower, I thought that like, I just felt like I was like magic was there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was. So anyway, what you were saying, it just reminded me so much of that experience that I had yesterday with that spider weaving its web and like weaving with the unknown, weaving with the void, weaving with what can't be seen. Um, anyway, and then I just wanted to loop in something from earlier, that sometimes the perception of like disrupting a system, like we can say it wasn't the right timing, but sometimes the disruption is the catalyst and it's exactly the right timing. It's
Hmm.
just not comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
I know I've been the disruptor, and it's like really taken me a whole journey, many, many different journeys to start to embrace that and not reflect that back on myself as um, like, why does it seem like you come into these systems and shit blows up sometimes? um, yeah.
What?
And then not taking it on as like a negative persona about my energy, but understanding on a deep level that some things just needed to be disrupted. And it wasn't me being consciously like, I'm going to go in here and disrupt this, you know? Sometimes it's just like saying the things. Like I'm thinking about my job at the crystal store, that I just asked questions about certain things with the systems. And I maybe said something once in a while, like, could we do this way? This might be easier or more efficient. Um, things like that. And in
Esther,
in the end, like
c'était ça
disruption
mode, les
came
squishies dans
from
ta marque-là? Quoi? C'était
miscommunication.
ça
But
mode, les squishies dans ta marque-là?
What was the last thing you said?
oh, I think that the larger disruption kind of in the end came from miscommunication.
Mhm.
Like we were then talking on two different planes because what I was bringing to the table was my boundaries about what I was willing and not willing to do. And then by this point, I think the disruption of what wasn't working in the system was starting to like really get big. And so it came from like talking on two levels. But like the projection was that I was the problem, and that, I mean, I was basically told I wasn't doing this, I didn't do this, I'm seeing this wrong, and like, um, and that's okay. Like, because when I walked away, I really did understand like there's a lot of things inside of the system of the way that small business is running, and it's also not my job to point all those things out, which is why I didn't. And I only mentioned a couple things system wise, daily, while I'm there type things, but like overall. Um, and I don't know what happened, but I hope that that was like a catalyst for them to make some larger changes, because they're going to keep running into these problems. Um, you know, because this was an ongoing kind of a thing before I came on board. And I just was the one willing to say, hey, this isn't really working for you to just have someone who comes in twice a year, for 2 weeks at a time. Like, that's not sustainable for anybody. And when you frame it in the way that like you're helping us, you're helping us instead of we are hiring you to do a job and these are the expectations.
Yeah.
So like that was something that I brought up in the end too. I was like, I'm actually not helping you. I'm an employee. Like, I didn't know you before this. I'm not coming on as a friend helping you out. I'm actually being hired as an employee. And it's not that I don't care about your business or you,
Yeah, exactly.
but I'm not doing this to help you.
Yeah.
And then that was not received well, even though it was the truth. And like it wasn't personal at all, like in any way. Um, and not that I didn't want to, and the irony of it was, is that almost every single paycheck that I got there, I turned around and spent it there.
Yeah.
Plus, I spent more of my own money on stuff
Yeah, exactly.
for gifts for people and just stuff I wanted that I wouldn't have been tempted to purchase if I hadn't been there and seen it. And it was like something I was like seeing every day, or every like couple times a week when I went in for my shifts. Anyway, it's just like, it's kind of humorous to me now, like how it all played out. And like part of the dialogue was like, um, you're taking advantage of a small business by nickel and diming us to get paid more than $10. Because from the lens, if someone's helping you out, then they should be willing to work for a little less because they're helping you, right? But an employee, like at the time, my daughter was working at Five Below, stocking shelves and getting paid $14 an hour. And I'm running a whole store while they're literally out of town. So I'm security, everyday tasks like opening, closing, everything that happens during the day is all on me. And so, and again, like I wasn't asking for what I thought was out of line, but the way that it was like then kind of like turned from this lens. But there was a lot more that was revealed there too, because there was a lot of lack mentality in her dialoguing with me. Well, we can't afford to do that. We can't afford to do this. Well, we're a small business. And so for me, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can be that vital of an employee, but not be valued for the vitality that I'm actually bringing here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to be a part of that lack mentality, because the lack mentality in that organization from the management and the owners, I'm not going to be heard for my suggestions, because those suggestions are going to rub up against the lack mentality. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Because like
It,
one of the that I just suggested, and I even suggested that I would do the job, was to just take some of the bigger piece crystals. They're like 500, 600, $800 a piece. They've been sitting there for a year or longer. I don't even know, because they were there when I got there and they're still there probably today. is to take pictures of them and put them on their Facebook page. That way you're reaching a broader audience and not dependent on selling those big pieces. You know, and it was such an easy thing. It was so clear. And it was like I brought it and I was so calm and just like a suggestion. And I'll be willing to do this like every couple weeks, put a new item up, like special item of the week or whatever. And it was just like holy hellfire. We can't take that on. That's a whole nother job. We can't afford to pay marketing and business, and we don't have the time and energy to be on Facebook. And it was like a billion, you know, and I'm like, okay. Because I brought the idea and willing to do the work. And then I was met with that. And so like at the end, it was clear, like you were like our conversation started out with, I wasn't going to be seen for what I was able to see and bring to the table, because it was just, it was like the level that she wasn't able to hear it where I was bringing it in. And but I ultimately do feel like the disruption of it made it more obvious that there was some things that they needed to deal with, and even if they weren't going to like deal with it in this moment and I ended up leaving, and do you know what I mean? I still feel that it's brought it now, bubbled up to the surface so much that there might be that tension point where there could be some change. And ultimately, it's her business, and they're going to make the changes in the way that fits what works for them. So I'm honestly not even attached to like the changes part. And I don't know if you guys experience that, but I experience that a lot when I make suggestions. I'm honestly really not that much attached to the outcome of it. It's more important for me sometimes to just be heard in it and have the consideration. And then it's like that seed. Like I'm just want to plant the seed. I'm not attached to whether or not you choose to water it or, you know, fertilize it or give it sun or transplant it or deadhead it. Like not attached. Like that seed could just go into hibernation. It's okay with me. That's, you know, that's like your journey there. Um, yeah. Which has kind of come up in parenting because my kids are like, sometimes will say like I offer so many suggestions and I'm like, but I'm not actually attached to any of them. You choose, you get to choose. I'm just simply showing you that it's not that black and white. That look at all these seeds that can be planted. So I know sometimes that hasn't been received well in that way either. Like the misunderstanding of, hey, I'm just planting the seeds. I'm not actually attached. But like sometimes it's perceived like a control issue to me. Like you're just trying to control the way I do things or control what I'm saying or, you know, and I'm like, I actually like really don't care.
Mm.
I mean, you know, how
Yeah,
you,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, it's in a
care and
helpful way.
are
Yeah,
not attached.
exactly.
Like, you know, just the same with in my garden. Like sometimes like this year, just did this experiment. I just took a bunch of mixed seeds. Like I was aware what seeds I was putting in my hand, but I just took a bunch of them and like I got this I re-mulched the yard. And so like in between the wood chips, there's these crevices that get moist. And so I just decided to like throw out a bunch of seeds at a couple different patches. Like I don't even know what I know what they are, but I don't know what's going to come up. I don't know what's going to be viable in any particular order. Um, yeah. And so I have like this one echinacea that's like in the middle of the low growing stuff that's just like but I love it because it's like not necessarily supposed to be there, but it's like I love that it's there. I'm like it's like one of my favorite. It's like yeah, that's exactly how when you go to the forest, things are not like in a nice little row. And nice little rows are nice, don't get me wrong, but very fun. So I have echinacea and cosmos that have come up. Um, And those are the only two that I can identify so far out of the 5 different varieties of seeds that I threw in this patch. So we'll see.
Oh my goodness.
But like I've also had seeds, like I'm a seed saver, so I've had seeds that were like 10 years old and that I didn't necessarily want to throw them away because sometimes even though you think 10 years old, how is that even going to be viable? Viable,
Oh wow.
viable. I have not all of them, certainly in the older seed packs that I've saved, but um, yeah, my friend Tamara and I are both seed savers, and it's been really fun experimenting with that and just and sometimes we get seeds from people that there's like a seed exchange, and so you might get like a whole bunch of seeds from somebody, and then maybe only get two plants out of a pack of 25 to 50 seeds.
Wow.
So it could be the opposite too, where it's like, huh, I don't know why all those seeds, only two were viable. Was it the environment that I was providing? Was it the way the seeds were dried? Was it the content of consciousness in the seeds? Like, are some GMO seeds? Like, I'm wondering about infertility in seeds. Like, Tamara and I are noticing that a lot. Like, we will save seeds from certain things, and like none will be viable
Wow.
at all. Yeah. Another topic, but
No, I think it's directly relevant because
weaving and
that's
seeding. We're like weaving and seeding.
yeah. I think
Course.
what you're speaking to as well is like the quality of like the receptivity to the other person being able to take on the seeds that you're um planting or dispersing, I guess. um it also is reminding me of just like the nature of a manifesting generator. I know that that's you're a manifester, is that correct? But you're
In tropical, I'm a generator, but
oh
in
generator, there we go.
ethereal, I'm a manifesting generator, which I honestly resonate a lot more with manifesting generator
Right.
energy than
Yeah.
generator energy.
Hmm. So it was just like bringing for me like this whole piece of like having infinite ideas, because that's kind of the way that I feel sometimes. And like I resonate with this feeling of just having no attachment to what the outcome is. um but I'm also noticing that sometimes when, even though there is no attachment to what the outcome ends up being, like how the person like uses those ideas or whether or not they use them, sometimes there's a piece of, it's like a small tether that just wants to be seen in showing up in support of them in some way. And that is usually what gets me in trouble, because when they don't take the idea, like
What
sometimes
say?
the small piece of me that
Can
wants
you
to be
repeat what you just said?
uh
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just
no.
repeat what you just said. Is there like a slowing down and like in the on my end, and like it was
uh
all jarbled.
oh
Sorry
okay.
if I need. Can
uh
you repeat that where
yeah,
you were at?
I'm wondering if I start from where I was talking about like the small piece of me or further back.
No, there. Yeah.
Okay, so there's like a small piece of me that wants to be recognized for having like either a positive uh, intent or just like being in support of them in some way. And when that part doesn't get recognized, then it almost doesn't even matter whether or not they use my idea in any way, shape, or form. It's just like, okay, I feel very unseen. It's like entire system shuts down. Ah, fuck, here we go again. Oh man. But that also brings me to another thing that I've noticed in myself, is that like if I've already developed an idea to a certain extent and I'm inviting someone into my space to perceive what I'm developing, um like there's a lot at stake when that comes up, or it feels like there's a lot at stake, because it's like um I don't know, there's like a protective piece that wants to nurture that idea, and like bringing that other person into the space is like, can you like support at least the existence of this, or like, I don't know, it's like there's, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
I think I know what you mean, Kiki. And if I feel like I feel so protective about the things that I want to create or manifest because I feel like if I bring the ideas in a field where someone cannot see it, it kind of kills the magnetic power of the idea to be manifested in the material. It's I think it's just basic physics.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how to explain it in these words, but I really feel like about what exists is I don't know how to word it in English, but it's like if you can observe it, it exists.
Yeah,
So if the other person cannot observe it, then it doesn't exist. So it make it kind of lose power.
yeah, yes,
You know what I mean?
and then
Yeah.
it loses momentum.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's sometimes for me where trust comes in too, in choosing maybe the person
Hmm.
space or place, or people. Um, the trust of feeling safe that I am being seen for who I am, um, which sometimes is not always possible, especially if you're in like a work environment or other spaces. Um,
Interesting.
because
Which
like
is why.
resource my mom, for example, for certain things because I just know she doesn't have the capacity. And like, I'll be talking to her on this plane and she'll be somewhere out here. So I don't really resource her because I don't have that trust that she sees me or hears me or understands or can. And it's not, um, yeah, it's a little more nuanced with my mom, obviously, because it's my mom. So
Mhm.
there's loopings of insecurities and all kinds of things in there in that particular example. But yeah.
I just like, I'm noticing that sometimes what happens is this the one whose attention you can feel would have the most potency, like to allow the idea to manifest like the fastest or whatever. Like they're usually the ones that are the least like likely to be accepting that that idea even
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah. And you know what came in, Penny, when you were speaking? It, I don't know how, if it's gonna make sense, but it feels like the thing I said previously about you have to be able to see it, so it takes form. It feels very connected, like to the capacity of seeing yourself and
Mhm.
existing true to yourself, because if you wait or want or need to be seen by the other, it's like, meanwhile, do you exist? And if the other doesn't see you, how does it affect
Mhm.
you manifesting who you are, really?
Yeah.
There's something there that I want to explore more because it brings this back to self-love.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing about this existence. I think that a lot of magic resides in self-love, and so the capacity to see, for example, a project that you have or an idea and it's in your mind means that you have the capacity to create it. So if you need someone to see you, or it would be easier to be yourself if this person would see you. Brings back to your capacity of seeing yourself if this person doesn't. I don't know if we're still into the subject, but
Yes.
it really speaks to me.
Yeah. Uh, this is reminding me of the particle wave duality, where it's like when a particle is being observed, like they're taking a snapshot at that precise moment in time. It obviously doesn't have to be in that specific locale after the snapshot is taken, and it also can be now a waveform. It like doesn't, so it's like the observation of the particle is what allows it to be a particle, but otherwise it's kind of in a state of um, just like being in any possible uh, location, like in particle, the form of a particle or a wave. And this self-love thing is also reminding me of the um, this awareness of the field in some way. It's like the mm, I don't know. Maybe I have to think about it a little bit more.
Get back to me when you do.
Yeah, was thinking about how different interactions with different people. So like if I do go to my mom, let's say with maybe something emotional that I might want support with, and I generally get this response from her, and I would say it's 99.9% the same response. It's like a tone of frustration. And now that I understand, it's not that she's frustrated with me. She's flooded in her system because her system has a really hard time metabolizing emotions. And she's just never mastered that. And so like there's a lot of dysregulation, a lot of easily becoming dysregulated. And now I understand that like that's what she's experiencing. It's not actually a reaction to me personally. So there's that I've had to like learn and love myself and separate. But then I might run an idea about something that I want to like launch or that I want to create um, to somebody, and that somebody might be more maybe neurotypical, not to label, but like that's kind of the way their brains. So they're asking me the questions of like the practicality. And so it's like the practicality, the implementation, the all these parts. And I'm like, I'm just still wanting to like embrace the vision of the idea and like hold that space. Cause sometimes for me, it's less important and I get thrown off course and distracted, which sounds odd, but happens. Trying to figure out all the details to get from where I am here to like this vision. And that's that pragmatics, that's the 1, 2, 3 steps implication, which is good. And sometimes I need assistance in that. But sometimes at the beginning, like if I ask someone and that person responds that way, like it's less personal and I don't have like all this thing. I'm just like, oh, okay, I can see that this maybe wasn't the right person because this person isn't able to nurture just the idea. Um, and that's okay. Because there's a time when I might need that person to assist or support me in the implementation process, but I'm not there yet. But I don't take it emotionally, personally, like I might in my mom if my mom can't show up in the way that I need her to. So, like, there's two kind of scenarios where I'm responding differently. One, I'm having clarity about who I am in it. And like, it's like more like, oh, I went to someone whose brain works this way. And that wasn't really what I want. But I didn't ask and say ahead, hey, I just want to present this idea. And can you hold space? And can you speckle in like, some things about this vision, but I really don't want the pragmatics yet. Like, I don't want the one, two, threes about how to get there. Not yet. And sometimes that's like something that I'm learning too, is like articulating ahead of time what I actually want, helps um, other people. It's not a perfect science, but it does at least help lay some kind of groundwork about like what layer I'm functioning at.
I'm gonna need a minute. I'm putting myself on mute. So I didn't get to hear, but did you describe what the or what what would be like the nurturing for you? like being with the idea as opposed to breaking down the steps for
Um,
because this is something that comes up for me, and my sister's been like expressing it too.
mhm. I think ultimately presence. Um, and it's nuance. It's not validation for the idea itself. It's um, maybe a shared excitement or acknowledgement, or it doesn't even have to be excitement, honestly. Um, and I want to say validation, but it's nuance. It's not necessarily for the idea. It's like, I see what you're coming up with, and that's super interesting. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, or like ask questions. Um, like what's the energy around it? Like not asking the how are you going to get there questions, but how does it feel when you talk about it? Like I've had different experiences with people where they engage around the energetic of the creative process. And maybe that's the validation, is just being just being heard or seen in the creative process itself. Um, so it's not like they have to agree with the idea or think it's really awesome. They just have to be engaged in the process of being present with me in the creative energy and spirit of it. Um, yeah. Earlier, I was also thinking of the threads of like stoicism that come in, like the philosophy of, the chaos kind of like can happen all around you or anywhere, but you're, solid within yourself, anchored within yourself. Um, yeah. I was sharing with Lila, she's been struggling with parts of her relationship with her brother, and her brother just has parts in his kind of how he's showing up and in his character right now that do actually need some healing. And so she's just observing how her neurodivergence is like showcased by his neurodivergence. And it feels like criticism and not being seen for her. And the injustice of her being able to see his kind of neurodivergence and capacity. Um, but it's also been bringing up a lot of doubt for her. So it's been a cool opportunity to kind of like just be present for her and kind of guide her through the nuances of kind of like understanding how does she feel when she's with her brother, and like can she be more of her true self, or does she find that she has to like shut parts of herself down to be okay with spending time with him. Um, yeah. And there's like little nuances in there of this opportunity for growth and then also opportunity for discernment, because you're certainly not obligated to continue to spend time with someone who, when you leave that space, you don't feel good, not about the experience and not about yourself, even if it is your brother, that underlying like I have to concede more because he's my sibling. And she wants to have a relationship with him. So she's kind of reaching this painful place of realizing the type of relationship she wants with him. He doesn't have the capacity for at this time, and that it's not about her.
Yeah.
But right now, it kind of does feel a little sticky. Like maybe some pieces are about her just because the way that he's said things. Um, yeah.
Kiki, I don't know if it's gonna bring another dimension to your reflection, but how it came to me was when Penny said like you that she kind of is able of precising on which layer she needs help. It for me, the first thing that came in for me was, is it like I have the words in French, of course. Uh, it's like the idea or the form. It's like, is it in the vision, the feeling, the needs, or is it in the practical way of building, doing? So if it's for creative idea, if you need it, if you need support with your emotion, or you're just stuck somewhere in your creative path, it's the practical is not gonna do anything like it's not ready to go on the practical.
Yeah.
So and so and what spoke to me, Penny, about what you said, it brought me back to clarifying my needs, the need that I have for help. Is it just being understood, being seen? Am I missing something? Do I need someone to bring an outside look to just show me some things that I'm not seeing? But basically, it feels like I haven't been able to ask for help for a long time. And that's a useful reflection here. Because when I would ask for help, I would not receive what I need.
Yes.
But it was maybe uh, something about the maturity of understanding what my needs would be, because I would be irritated for not receiving the what I need. And I'm in this uh I'm living this in with my mom, like for the past few months, where it all began in the constellation, like a year back, of just you're the mom and I'm the daughter. So, and basically my needs is like, I need you to make me soup so I can eat, and that very basic, on a very basic level. And it's coming. It's coming. Like she brought me something to eat the other day.
No way.
And she would find it overwhelming to have to support my entire family if she wanted to help me,
Mm.
because that's what she thought she had to do. My sister had a discussion with her, and she told her, "You have one daughter. You don't have to take care of everything around her. Just take care of her."
Oh,
So, and I have been able to speak about it, but which would it was not easy, but just to put the finger on the need is a very big step, but very good start.
yeah. I guess part of
You
me wonders if navigating this is difficult because it's sort of like in the dark. It's a bit obscure before you're able to like share it with someone and they're able to like shed light on what's actually happening. And so sometimes like the light can feel exposing. Sometimes it's like there's no light and it's just like banging into each other in the darkness. It's like, oh wait, like that's where I end. Like this is just so we understand.
Mm-hmm.
uh, um, and then I guess maybe that even goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which is like this idea of weaving like backwards and like into the present moment, where it's like once you have more information for yourself about like either your own boundaries or what is needed for um, that idea to come to fruition, it's like that's that's kind of what the meaning of this is, because I know that like sometimes it can feel like, why is this happening? Like there's clearly something that's off here. It doesn't feel right. It's like there's, the tension that comes out after. um Honestly, it's like a disturbance from the inside, as well as the like whatever emerges in the company or the corporation or like the relationship or whatever. But it's bigger because like that's giving you the information you need in order to do whatever else the other thing is. It's like interesting.
Yeah, another piece that was kind of coming in for me, like weaving backwards, was recognizing that some, like with parents in particular, some of our parents have neurodivergencies, but were never diagnosed and not able to have those conversations. Like I'm 100% for sure that my mom is on the autism spectrum. Um, Also has trauma. She has both. Probably like complex PTSD, like ongoing trauma for extended period. Um, but I tried to have a conversation with her when I got my diagnosis for ADHD and the audio processing disorder. And it was like she just checked out. She was just dissociating the entire time. Like she could not. And I don't know. And I tried really hard not to take it personally. It did feel like rejection. I'm not going to lie, like in my body. Um, but after I was able to discharge that feeling out of my body, it made me wonder like the nuances of her neurodivergency that I, working backwards, have misperceived in her. So perhaps when I come with her to her for certain things, she has the emotional flooding inside. I don't see it because it's invisible, but I interpret it as rejection because it's been something the way she's showing up for me since the beginning of time. Um, so kind of working backwards in that way of thinking about how neurodivergency could be weaved inside of the family system and not know it. And so like I'm looking at it from my perspective, but also like I need to weave backwards and look at it from hers because I have the awareness and consciousness and able to work in the field enough to recognize it and talk about it and name it. Whereas she can't. Like in, she's just not willing, to be honest. She just doesn't want to, and that's her choice. Um, and that felt personal to me for a really long time too. Her choice, because it felt like she wasn't choosing me, and she's just choosing not to open Pandora's box about the complexities of her own system. And that's her choice to do. That's her, yeah. I also was thinking about the processes inside of identifying your own needs. Like often I will be able to recognize what I need. But then the second piece is being able to articulate it. So sometimes I swirl with how to say it so that someone else will understand me because of that being misunderstood loop. And so it's like, if I can just figure out how to say it, that it can be received. And so letting go of that's been a process that I'm still in. Like, I can't, there's no way that I can predict a perfect way to say something that the other person will receive. Like, I'm just going to have to do the best, trust myself, know it's coming from a place of love and innocence, you know. And if the other person receives it, they receive it. The sticky part is when they react to it. Then that's the sticky of like me holding my own like energy field and my own system and my own love and my own identity. And again, like, you know, with someone like my mom, if I'm having a bad day or I'm stressed out about something else, it could be like wounding for me for weeks, even though I've done tons of work with my mom. Whereas opposed to someone else could show up, say the same thing to me, and I would have literally no reaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I find interesting with relativity to trust, because sometimes that person that I have no reaction that said the same thing almost basically, and maybe in different wording than what maybe my mom would say. Like I have less trust for that person because I don't have all this history, where I like feel like I have less trust for my mom, even though I should have more trust for my mom because we have history. And so in that moment, it's like I'm trusting what feels like it should be flipped, you know. I mean, I guess ultimately in that scenario, I'm really not trusting the person outside of me, her or this other person. I'm actually trusting my own internal guidance system to say, you know, to know like that this is clean energy here and this is not clean energy with my mom, because it's not. Sometimes it's from me and sometimes it's from her, and sometimes our chords are interplaying. um
Yeah, it also like there's this piece of just what it's reminding me of is like the coherence that we were or that I've been pulling in here about like the different octaves or the different levels that are brought in by the octave. It's like sometimes when she's she herself is like either dissociating or like not processing information for herself, like she's projecting that outward and it's not allowing you to cohere in your own way. And it could present as something that literally shows up as something that's untrue. um, this is also reminding me of actually something that happened last night, which was so interesting to think about in retrospect because like we had just come from throwing out a bunch of garbage from the moldy home. It's like um, my mom was taking a shower and all of a sudden like my dad and I were sitting there and we just like heard this faint knocking. We're like, what the hell is going on? And then it happened again. My dad started yelling to like my mom so that she could hear. He was like, are you knocking? And she was like asking, like she has an audio processing thing as well. And she was like, what are you saying? Like not fully able to respond or whatever. And then it happened again. And this time, like I just felt like fear heighten in my body where I was like, maybe we're getting yelled at for by the neighbors for throwing stuff out in our dumpster instead of like going to like publicly dump it or something, or like in a different area like dump it. And then um like my mom got out of the shower and my dad was like, were you the one that was knocking? Like Please acknowledge this. And she was like, what? Like, yeah, it was me, like, whatever. And he was like, like clearly agitated. He was like yelling. He was like not like regulated. And I looked at her and I was like, okay, so I understand your reason for getting defensive here, but like I felt the fear that he was experiencing, and like that was not it wasn't like a chill thing. Like I know that you were just knocking for whatever reason. It didn't even matter. I was just like, this is the clarity of what emotional response is happening right now. And she was able to kind of just, you know, process whatever that was for herself on her own. But then also my dad was able to like de it was just like, oh my God. The word that just came to mind was defrag. It's just like a coding word for like getting the bugs out, where he was just like, oh, like actually we're safe, we're fine, like everything is okay. And then like it was like a switch immediately. Like he went from anger to just being regulated. And like that doesn't usually happen, but it was kind of cool to see. Misunderstandings, huh?
Did you figure out what the knocking was?
It was my mom.
Oh, it
She
was
was the
for
one. Yeah, she was the one that
okay.
that's why I'm
It's just
my,
so interesting. Yeah, I was trying to really hard to focus, but like we had a knocking experience here just literally like 3 days ago. Me and Lila were hearing knocking and we could not find it. Like there was no one at the door. There was no one at like the side door. There were like we walked around, we went outside and just to see if like there was like the guy reading the meter, outside or something like that. Still have no idea what it was, but we both heard it.
oh
And
my
it,
goodness.
it wasn't loud, it was faint. Yeah.
Mhm.
We had fun speculating about like, you know, we're for Irish Fest, so we're like tapping into the Fey world and we're like
Oh my goodness.
we're like, the fairies have arrived. They're
Yeah.
here. Knocking on the windows. Kind of teasing us.
Was it scary?
No, it was more just unknown. It was such a light knocking. It almost felt like sometimes the delivery service and like if there's fans on in the house, it sounds faint. It was almost like that.
Mhm.
It was more puzzling after the fact, kind of like, hmm. That's
Yeah.
why we went into magic mode. We're like, let's just make up some fun pixie fairy stories
Yeah.
about that knocking.
I love it.
Yeah, that's interesting how your dad was able to go from anger to being completely regulated like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't often happen for people. Mhm. Do you think that your dad has some
Oh yeah.
sensibilities too? Like
Absolutely.
the knocking or maybe the sound or maybe not knowing where it was coming from kind of was like dysregulating?
Yeah, he used to yell. I mean, this is a common thing across like Albanians, but he would yell at us whenever like we would make noise putting things in like uh the dish rack. It's like, or especially if we dropped a dish or whatever, it's like, why are you breaking things? It's like, okay.
That was an accident.
Yeah. But also like why are you breaking things? Like, am I out here like doing the, traditional Greek dance or whatever where they, throw the plate in the middle? Yeah.
Like dancing around your kitchen.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's so interesting the way that he articulates back to you how he's absorbing it. It's very similar to how my son uh, responds, reacts. Like some of the things that he's reacted to with Lila have been just like from me and from her. It's like, wow, that's completely insensitive way to say that, with this accusation that somehow I was doing this thing to rub up on your nuance, which your nuance you haven't even articulated to me as a thing that I need to be aware of.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's a demeaning quality in it too, right?
Yes.
Why are you breaking stuff? There's
Yeah.
like this, yeah, and he's presenting that way as well.
Hmm.
Which is why it's kind of tapping on some of Lila's insecurities about her own ways that she processes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like calling her naive and unaware. Well, you just don't know things. Like that kind of thing. Um, yeah, where like his assessment is it's like annoyed, and yeah, it's really hard for me to understand like how that comes out like that. Um, I mean, I'm accepting it and accepting that I don't understand where the connection is in the brain. Like same with your dad. Like I wish I could understand where that connection is in his brain, that he would say, you know, why are you breaking things when it's fully natural to occasionally drop a dish and it breaks on the tile.
Yeah.
And it's okay that I don't know, but I've always been curious about that connection in there. Why is it perceived like I'm doing something to you on purpose
Yeah.
when
And
it seems super obvious to me that it's just like the natural course of like
existing.
life,
Yeah.
nature, or organicness, you know?
Yeah. I wonder, and this is um with a grain of salt, but I wonder if this is like a victim mentality type of thing where it's like, how sometimes what can happen is like the perception of like, the universe is doing things to test me. It's like these are like obstacles versus like the universe doing this for me, or like there's like a positive. And then like if you continue down that line of thought of just like these things are happening to me, um and they're out of my control and there's nothing that I can do to stop them, then how do I re-exert control? It's by um not only pointing fingers at people, like blaming them, but also by holding them accountable in ways that they might not be able to take account for. This is bringing me back to that whole fingers story. Oh man, because another time that something similar came up was when I slammed my finger in the car door, and my dad was like getting ready to like beat me up, and it's like, brother, like I didn't do this on purpose. Like there was no intention behind me hurting myself. Like I wouldn't do that on purpose. And the the side that he wasn't able to see was like the lack of intention, because he was um like one of the stories that he was telling me as we were walking was like, oh, when I was 7 years old, like my dad was having me take the cows um to like the village or whatever, and I had to make sure that they came back in one piece. So it's like, a cow is a cow, they're going to do cow things, and like you can't really control what they're going to do. But as a 7-year old, when your parents are expecting you to like maintain a certain whatever, like health, or maintain their whatever, it's like you have to do everything in your power and beyond to like preserve their integrity or whatever. It's like they have to come back exactly how you left them. um and that, I don't know, that messaging. that's not obviously to put blame on his parents for anything, but it's just like the circumstances, the um, environment that allowed for the necessitation of that type of thinking, I think. Because it's like if you don't have control over those circumstances, then what? That kind of sucks.
Yeah, makes me curious about the level of internalized shame that gets created. Um, like growing up in an environment where you're not seen or heard for your differentiation. And then how maybe that is what's the thing that's being projected also in that um, kind of like, why would you do that? Like, not, I don't know if I'm articulating it clearly, but something coming in about like internalized shame experienced by like your dad and like Rowan, which then comes out in those times that gets projected onto people. I wonder if there's like a helplessness that they also feel like in not knowing how to respond to that level of vulnerability. And so like that triggers this internalized shame that's like kind of being carried from their experience of being misunderstood, maybe. Um,
Yeah. It's almost like they can't handle the idea that it might not have been intentional because that means that they lack agency in a way that might be scary.
mhm. And if there's not someone to blame or fault to be carried, then you're only left with the rawness of the emotional experience,
Yeah.
which I also see like sometimes in my son, how he's been showing up with Lila is like he's very intolerant of other people's emotional experiences, but also wants to be seen and heard and presence in his own emotional experience.
And then there's a part of me that comes up that's like, how much of his own emotional experience is available for him to be with himself if he's not able to hear the other person?
Right. Exactly. Mhm. Which probably directly links into his nervous system. So, like for both of them, if their emotions seem like their emotional awareness or ability to be present with their own emotional experience of anything, like causes that dysregulation, um, then that's something that they're going to try to like negate experiencing that in others, because to experience someone else's emotional experience, there has to be a certain degree of being able to like hold it within yourself and experience it so that you can identify with it. Yeah. And I think this is just a sidebar. It's like, forgive my neurodivergence for like bringing up several points at once. But I was um, thinking about, how do I want to say it? Well, I'll come back to it. We'll just give a little space and see how this is parts responded to. And let's see if it comes in a little bit more clear before I veer off.
I don't know that I have anything remarkable to say about it, but I honestly like it feels I don't know. It all feels relevant. It all feels like it's helpful in some way.
This time has been very precious for me sharing all these things. I will have to leave, but I was I didn't watch the first gathering that you had all the way, but I watched about half of it and I was like, oh my gosh, if I felt like I had to be there. And I had so much to say, just it was it I I wanted to write everything, but it was like so much.
Yeah. Hmm.
I had so much to say, and I'm very happy that I connected with you today. And I wish we could go on still now, but I wish we continue this series.
Yes,
I
yes.
feel very seen,
Yeah,
but
me.
it
Thank you.
yeah, okay. So I'll hop off because it's my youngest daughter birthday today, and I have a
Oh,
lot of cleanup to do
yeah.
Happy
before.
birthday.
Yeah, I'll give it a message. So I love you too, girls.
Love you.
Yes, love
See you
you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey. So then maybe we'll just want to finish with that last piece if you feel
Yeah,
like you have the
yeah,
words to express it at least.
yeah. I think this is just a wonderful place to leave off and let everything percolate. A lot of threads, in typical neurospicy fashion. We bring up 100 threads in 90 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you again
Yeah.
for allowing this idea to come to full bloom. I'm just like,
Yeah. Thank you for just hopping on the sort of like, I second that, because sometimes I have like a million ideas and a lot of them don't get implemented. So that was fun to kind of have the idea be seconded and then like, ooh, here's the momentum. Let's go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and hopefully, once I watch Ted Lasso, we'll have. I
Yeah,
just like I'm so excited. I can't.
yeah. Oh, I was gonna mention, this is just a little sidebar, but have you watched the series? It's called Ride or Die.
No.
It's on Prime. Well, at least I'm watching it through Prime. I'm not sure if it's on a specific streaming. I think I'm streaming a couple channels through Prime right now, so I can double check. But it has Hannah Waddington in it and Olivia Spencer, who I also really like. And it's like a comedy action. It's so good.
Okay.
Out loud good. And she's just a gem. I just love her. And I really like Olivia Spencer too. So anyway,
Okay.
just to kind of weave a little character from Ted Lasso in there. Yeah.
I'm super excited. I can't wait to see what that's about too. Thank you.
Yeah. And in typical neurodivergent fashion, like Lila and I just had like the big download epiphany last night after we watched the Ted Lasso. Of course, the episode was not nearly long enough.
Oh no.
All the anticipation that we had building up to it, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, it was over. We were both like, just each other. And it was
Yeah.
simultaneously synced up flooding of reality of like, we have to wait a whole week now.
Oh,
Gosh,
yeah.
spoiled before having 3 seasons that you could just binge the next episode, you know, if you had time. And it's like, oh, wow, the restraint now. We have to wait.
Oh man.
Yeah, we got a chuckle out of that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it kind of feels like that's what we're finishing our thoughts on anyway here is
Yeah,
like literally.
totally. We got to wait.
Yep. Well, see ya.
Embrace wait.
Yeah. See you once the wait's over.
Yep, sounds good. Love
Love
you.
you. Bye.